Another day, another security vulnerability impacting tens of millions. Microsoft may be working on the next toxic Avenger, and a bunch of companies hit with a RICO suit. All that and more on today's episode of MSP Dispatch.
This episode is presented by OIT VoIP. Enhance your client's communication abilities with our VoIP solution, featuring integrated billing, on-demand training, and live US support. Collaborate seamlessly with Microsoft Teams integration and put your entire phone system in your pocket with MOVEit. Improve your offerings and increase profitability with reliable service for 1/10 of the average MSP acquisition cost. To learn more, visit oit.co or dial 844-CALL-OIT.
Good morning and welcome to the 153rd episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. I'm Tony Francisco and joined today by my amazing co-host, Mr. Matt Fox. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. You know, I knew that I was going to be on here. I know that you've always got the eyebrows on fleek.
I worked hard on that. Prior, I was in the green room. I was fleeking them up. Still don't understand where that term came from, but I use it all the time. And
it's the kids, man, the kids. But I was gonna say, I knew that I was gonna be here with you today, so I did what I could to get the wings looking all right. They're
oh my gosh, that's funny. Hey, so real quick, there are things that you can manufacture. Your eyebrows on fleek. Mm-hmm. You can manufacture some good clothing. You can also manufacture a wolf. Now, this is kind of a weird story from BBC.com. In Japan, due to the rising bear attacks, they have created a mechanical wolf, a monster wolf, that's solar powered and emits a menacing roar when it detects nearby bears. Has flashing LEDs and lights on its tail, but if you really look at that tail, can you go back to that tail? Because what that is I don't know which end is the tail. That's the part I'm trying to look at here. What is happening? Have we jumped the shark on the wolf? I don't understand. Like, have we just done it too much? Is AI, robotics, we're just like, hey, listen, this is overkill. You had a saying of what it looked like from, what was it, Chuck E. Cheese?
It looks like a character from a condemned Chuck E. Cheese location that's been out of business for like 15 years. And I'm sitting here going, man, this is weird. But also, it's Japan, so whatever. He's got a lynx's tail.
But do you think, here's an interesting scenario. Do you think, because Japan is kind of that like technology origin center of robots and you have Godzilla and other versions, Mechazilla. Do you think the bears are going to create their own version of the Mecha bear to go against the Mecha wolf? And then do you understand? This is kind of like rewinding, but it's not. It's if we fast forward through time, this is the originating point of Mechazilla versus Godzilla, and Is this the first step? Am I going too far?
Well, first of all, I don't think there's such thing as a first step. I think everything takes place in a cyclical manner. And all I can do is sit here and you're talking, but I'm not seeing your face. I'm seeing Jeff Goldblum just laughing, being like, just because we should doesn't mean just because we can doesn't mean we should. And I think that's written all over this. And just because we can and we should, I think we got some news to get into.
Oh my gosh. Let's get into the news.
And in my first story, MOVEit, critical progress bug infests WS-FTP software by Jai Vijayan of Dark Reading. Progress Software has uncovered critical vulnerabilities in its WS-FTP file transfer product affecting approximately 40 million users. These vulnerabilities include a high-severity issue that allows for pre-authenticated remote code execution without requiring any user interaction. And the risks associated with these vulnerabilities are significant, particularly in the light of recent zero-day vulnerabilities in Progress's MOVEit file transfer technology, which has already affected over 2,100 organizations. The newly disclosed vulnerabilities affect all supported versions of WS-FTP and enterprise-grade software widely used for secure file transfers between systems, groups, and individuals. Among the critical vulnerabilities, CVE-2023-40044, an easily exploitable .NET serialization vulnerability, stands out. Another critical bug, CVE-2023-42657, has a CVSS score of 9.9, making it a near maximum security vulnerability. This directory traversal flaw enables attackers to gain unauthorized access to files and folders, even escaping the WSFTP file structure to manipulate the underlying operating system. Progress has taken swift action by releasing fixes and recommending immediate updates. Now, Tony, that was quite the story to read to our audience. We've got some significant security vulnerabilities. We have the repeated mention of the MOVEit software, and now we have WSFTP, a piece of software that has been in my toolbox for probably decades now, since I began in the IT profession. And this as disturbing as the news we typically hear is, hearing it spread across an organization's portfolio of products is the way I see this, in a way, and that's incredibly distressing to me.
There's I don't think there's an end to a vulnerability once it has been exploited and inserted into a library that is referred to by other applications. I think there is an ongoing process of elimination. Now, the problem with that ongoing process is that the application that has been exploited and the library that's inside the application can then be carried on to, ironically, development and exploitation of other applications. So it's an ongoing cycle that is going to at some point have to be, I think there's going to be a standardization of the exploit being suppressed. Once it's identified, once it's communicated, then we have an engineered obsolescence to a timeline and then penalties after that time if this still exists in an application that you created, which is going to open up a whole new bag of worms, a whole new can of worms.
Any kind of package.
Any type of container for said worms, to then provide a solution for anyone creating an application. So you're now associating the amazing creation and invention of some application to possibly an ongoing liability should it be exploited at a later time. So I'm wondering if the GNU agreements will kind of separate, give you that shield. What's that? What is the that shield of liability? The corporate shield. I don't remember what that's called, but piercing the corporate veil. That's what it is. Where you cannot pierce a corporate veil to personal assets if you've created something on the outside. This is a company level, and it does that GNU agreement create that corporate veil that cannot be pierced in the event you create something, an open source software, that it then is later exploited, that you are holding liability for not suppressing. I'm kind of curious of where this is all gone, where this is all going to end up. I've been thinking about this for a long time.
The transfer of liability with respect to the dependencies of an application is what you're getting at, and all I took from that was containerized worms.
Well, we talk about it on the show, like CISOs. Are CISOs liable, personally liable, for not capping a leak, a plug, a potential exploit that's coming in? What happens if the exploit comes in, but data is pulled out? Is now the CISO
responsible for that exfiltration?
And then what if that data is used for something much larger? It is the most fascinating conceptual liability string because it doesn't end.
It's the butterfly effect, if you will.
100%. And it's going to scare CISOs from being a CISO. And so I don't know the answer, but I think, frankly, your story, Matt, is very much in line with that, because it just doesn't end. It just happens to be an application level, less CISO, more entrepreneur that created
inside the weeds of what's going on there. Absolutely. And you know what? I think that I've had my fill of security today, so let's get into some business news.
Let's do it. And jumping into my first story from futurism.com, Microsoft needs so much power to train AI that it's considering small nuclear reactors. No, we're not joking. Microsoft is exploring the use of small modular reactors, those are SMRs, to power its AI training due to high energy demands of large language models. Although SMRs are seen as a more cost-effective and adaptable traditional nuclear station, Microsoft faces challenges like sourcing a functional SMR design, obtaining enriched uranium fuel, and managing nuclear waste. While Bill Gates' TerraPower incubates SMR designs, it hasn't committed to selling reactors to Microsoft. Besides, Microsoft is also investing in nuclear fusion and has a power purchase agreement with fusion startup Helion. So, Matt, I've got a lot of questions for you. It starts out with the power demand and why they're doing it, but somewhere in the middle it says Microsoft is facing challenges like obtaining enriched uranium.
Hey, Doc Brown had the same problem.
A 1.21 gigawatts, 1.21 gigawatts. So are we facing a challenge from your perspective, as far as you can go into something? You are going to have dependencies at some point that reach extreme levels where the dependency itself may outweigh the value of whatever you're trying to do, trying to create. So are we at that point? Talk to me.
I realize, Tony, that when I do these episodes with you, I joke around a little bit. And this is a challenging one to really have an interesting opinion on right now, because, in the beginning of the show, I made the Toxic Avenger comment. Now we're sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, the whole premise of the Matrix, right? We're like, to make us into batteries. But why would AI need batteries if we help them build a self-sustaining energy source?
Okay, so you literally stole that right out of my head, which was, we are looking for a nuclear source to create AI. I wonder if there's ever going to be a version where AI or computing needs to use us as the power. And
then I'm also just kind of, and I am being a little silly here because the story is a little out there to begin with, but there is also kind of like that nuclear fallout from an incident, Microsoft blue screen, versus the future continued development of AI. I would love to have a better understanding of exactly what the power needs in the situation are, and compare them to the potential of the power that can be generated through these small and modular reactors that they're talking about.
But maybe the AI that they're powering could enable us to create, invent, design, implement more efficient reactors at a later time. We should talk about this at a later time, because we're getting into that weird scenario where you have underwater computing, like oceanic computing. From a cooling perspective, makes a lot of sense. It's sustainable-ish. And now we're talking about nuclear reactors on a terrestrial level to power large language models. Those are very new, but they require huge amounts of power. Is this the new Bitcoin power consumption grab? But somewhere in between, this is the question that I ultimately have for everyone in the audience. Is the large language model going to be that important outside of learning how to make your email a little bit easier to read, learning how to summarize a document, learning how to create a presentation a little bit quicker? Is the cost of SMR, a nuclear power plant to provide power for this, is it worth that? We have to talk about this off another time.
We're going to talk about this offline. I'm just going to throw out one new acronym for everyone because we love acronyms, right? ROAI. Let's get two I's in the end. Return on artificial intelligence investment.
Artificial intelligence investment
versus traditional knowledge and information worker-based efforts. I think that's what we're going to have to start looking at when it comes to stories like these. And we're definitely going to cover more of this as it unfolds, because I don't know about you, but I'm super curious about this one.
I'm super curious about the acronym you just used and something called RICO. RICO. Tell me about RICO.
Let's get to it. And in my next story, H&R Block, Meta, and Google slapped with a RICO suit, allegedly schemed to scrape taxpayer data by Mac DeGuerin for Gizmodo. A class action lawsuit alleges that H&R Block, Meta, formerly known as Facebook, and Google engaged in a joint scheme to install trackers on H&R Block's website, scanning and transmitting taxpayer data back to the tech giants. The lawsuit claims that a pattern of racketeering activity, in quotes, under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, typically used for organized crime. The lawsuit stems from a congressional report revealing that tax preparation firms, including H&R Block, shared sensitive tax data without proper safeguards. Trackers, referred to as spy cams, allegedly scanned tax documents revealing personal tax information, including filers' names, addresses, and dependents. And this data was used for targeting advertising to train Meta's AI algorithms despite IRS rules protecting tax privacy. The lead plaintiff used H&R Block software and claims he was unaware of his tax data interception, and attorneys argue that the companies intentionally violated privacy rights for financial gain. H&R Block allegedly used Meta's pixel tracking service, while Google utilized Google Analytics to intercept and collect personal data. More lawsuits may follow, and lawmakers are urging investigations into tax misuse. Wow, so now we understand what RICO is, and it was not RICO Suave. I apologize to the audience on that. It's significantly more serious than a lovely song from the early 1990s. I mean, this is a serious privacy violation. That's what I get from this. That's the only thing that I'm getting from this at the moment.
For the people that are just listening, too long didn't read, 5 seconds or less, what is the article about?
The article is about large corporations, many of which we have come to trust not only with our personal information, but our financial information, taking advantage of said trust. Period.
Fascinating. And this is outside of the tech sector, but it is not. In the article, they actually talk about how they hid certain pixels in certain data to track certain usage, the trackers, referred to as spy cams, would allegedly scan tax documents and reveal a variety of personal tax information, including the filer's name, filing address, federal taxes owed, address, and number of dependents. With that data, they can do anything because they can now
go get a mortgage.
Oh my goodness. I am fascinated by the amount of scams that are out there on illegitimate sites. These are very legitimate organizations that have complete control over our financial status, financial transactions, and they can now take that data and do what? So now here's the question. Since leaked data is punishable, isn't this considered leaked data? Is there going to be a standard term for stealing data, taking data that is not yours and repurposing it? I'm wondering if that's where we go, because remember, it has to be an overarching law that reaches the H&R Block to the CISO to the organization to a platform that isn't adhering to GDPR standards. I'm trying to figure out, is there going to be an overarching law? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that there has to be an overarching law. There has to be regulation put in place that has incredibly strict penalties for the inappropriate use of our information, especially when it's coming from a household name. Everyone knows Facebook. Everyone knows HR Block. We're all thinking about the green square logo in our heads right now because you know what? We're coming up on the end of the year and it's going to be tax time soon. Now, I think that the landscape of different shops I'm going to work with for taxes this year just got a little bit shorter, a little smaller.
Oh, man. So, for the MSPs watching the show, I know there's some of you that use H&R Block. Some of you have your own CPAs and why did you go with your CPA? Some of you do your taxes in-house. Some, if not most of you, use a TurboTax automation software because that's what we do.
Easy.
We can do it ourselves. We have software, and then we can't figure something out, so then we call H&R Block, rinse and repeat. So I'm curious to the MSPs out there that are listening. What do you use for your taxes? Have you considered something like this? And frankly, if your data is being exposed internally and repurposed for other opportunities, revenue generating opportunities that you weren't aware of, how do you feel about that? And Do they have to play by the same rules that you have to play by with your customers? Please let us know. We have amazing avenues of communication, everything from Discord servers, phones. You can literally call us. I know this is awkward for the youngins out there. You can literally call. You talk to us and we listen to it. Email.
Email is fantastic, but again, Discord. Come join the Discord. Get into the conversation, because you know what? You may learn something new, and maybe the owner of another MSP learns something that prevents them a lot of pain in the future. That's how we help each other. Now, I think it's time for notables.
Oh, let's do it. And in my first notable mention from bleepingcomputer.com, Amazon inadvertently sent out confirmation emails for Hotels.com, Google Play, and Mastercard gift card purchases to customers, causing concerns over account security. These emails, confirmed as coming from Amazon, alarmed many users who found no such transaction in their accounts. The emails linked to an Amazon page detailing how gift cards are frequently used in online scams. Amazon later acknowledged the error, stating that an issue in their email system caused the mistake, and they will be reaching out to the affected customers to explain and apologize. And in my next story from Kotaku.com, FBI indicts Wall Street banker for doing crimes on an Xbox 360. A former Goldman Sachs analyst, Anthony Vigiano, is accused by the FBI of insider trading, allegedly using an Xbox to relay tips to friends, resulting in over $400,000 in illegal profits. Vigiano believed that his Xbox 360 chats were untraceable. He and Christopher Salomone are also charged with security frauds and arrested on September 28th. Salomone has pleaded guilty. Vigiano allegedly assured Salomone that their communications were secure, especially on the Xbox. It remains unclear whether the duo used Xbox 360 or newer Xbox models for their conversation. The exact means by which the FBI became aware of their alleged insider trading, whether through intercepted chats or confessions, is not specified.
And in my first notable, 40 years of new and the free software movement from the Free Software Foundation. The Free Software Foundation, SFS, marks its 40th anniversary of the new operating system and inception of the free software movement on September 27th. Initiated by Richard Stallman in 1983, GNU stands as a symbol of user freedom and ethical software, and combined with the Linux kernel, it underpins the internet and countless devices. GNU's introduction of copyleft licensing was revolutionary, preserving user rights. The FSF continues its advocacy for software freedom through events like LibrePlanet, aiming to inspire new generations to support the cause. Celebrations include a new hackers meeting in Switzerland and a hack day at FSF's Boston headquarters. And in my second notable, beware the AI-generated Tom Hanks via The Verge. Tom Hanks has alerted his Instagram followers to a fake dental plan ad using his AI-generated image without his consent. The actor, who has voiced concerns about AI in entertainment, discussed the challenges it poses, including potential misuse of faces and voices. Beware. The U.S. writers' strike recently ended with the restrictions on AI in film and TV, or ended with restrictions, but the actors' union strike continues due to concerns about AI-generated likenesses. Hanks's warning highlights the ongoing debates about AI's impact on the intellectual property and creative industries. Today's resource of the week, we bring you Cybersecurity Awareness Month resources from the National Cybersecurity Alliance. 2023 marks the 20th Cybersecurity Awareness Month campaign, and the National Cybersecurity Alliance is celebrating with a new year-round awareness campaign and evergreen Cybersecurity Awareness Month theme created by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, Secure Our World. Secure Our World is here to remind us that there are simple ways to protect yourself, your family, and your business from online threats. Learn more and access resources at staysafeonline.org. Links are in the show notes. There are plenty of amazing upcoming events taking place across the community. Let's see what's happening this week. On October 3rd at 11 a.m. Eastern, we have Ransomware 101, Protect Against This Evolving Threat, presented by Barracuda MSP. Also on October 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern, the State of Cybersecurity at MSPs, presented by Fin Security. On the 5th at 11 a.m. Eastern, Cybersecurity Awareness for Everyone, presented by ThreatLocker. There's also an in-person event taking place on the 5th Edibles Roadshow will be in Miami, Florida. And coming from the MSP Media Network this week, we have on October 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Wins and Losses Episode 10. On October 4th at 10 a.m. Eastern, we have Episode 30 of AI Roundup. This Thursday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, tune in for an episode of The Tech Bar with Trevor Thomas of Zen Contract. On October 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern, we have MSP Community Live Episode 14, followed by an all-new episode of 38 at 38 with guest Ashley Gordon at 5 p.m. Eastern. And as always, MSP Dispatch every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, presented by the MSP Media Network.
Hey, I'm Powerhouse Ray.
And I'm Super Cousin Danny.
And we're the hosts of
The Tech Bar.
Pull up a stool with us every other Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern for drinks, jokes, and games with your friends in the MSP channel.
So how'd you like today's show? If you like it, please hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, go ahead and hit it twice or 3 times, whatever the odd number is. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher. Did you know that we also have a Discord channel where we post all these stories all week? You can even propose your own stories and even vote on which ones we're going to cover in the next episodes. As Ray's friend, Rich Banky, says, make sure you tell a friend. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at MSP Media TV. If you have any questions, email us at news@mspmedia.tv for answers on the next episode, or just leave us a voicemail at 833-MSP-NETWORK. So Matt, we did a show together, almost completely unsupervised. How do you think it went today?
We made it. We made it.
Alive. We talked about mecha wolves going
Mega
against
wolves?
mecha
Megawatts?
mecha wolves going against mecha bears with megawatts and mega fraud and all the stuff that MSPs care about.
Absolutely. It's the good stuff. And you know what? Let's just throw something a little weird in. You ever seen a Captain Tape dispenser from KFC?
So with that,
going to get you.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening to today's show. For those of you that are at DattoCon right now in Miami, I wish I was there. I couldn't make it this week. Got some things popped up in business. Total FOMO happening, but Ray is down there right now with all of you. So much love to everyone there. Have fun. Please, please, please be safe.
Have a good one, folks.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.
Like, really? You're facing challenges? What kind of challenges? Getting a nuclear reactor. What kind of challenges could you face? Hold on. Yeah.
Beware.